the single largest comedy festival in the world. And this comedy festival is broadcast on TV, TV, and back then when it was being done, it was there wasn't a screen behind every airplane seat.
Right. Of course.
There was a right. So, but regardless, we were seen on TV and in in-flight entertainment all over the world. And
Wow.
one thing led to another with that as well. And we got on various TV shows. Every country in the world has like one big variety TV show. Some of them have more than one. The United States has, three or four,
Yeah.
and most places only have one. So I've performed with my own work on TV shows as well as on the stages around the world. You live in London?
Yeah. I'm near London. Yeah.
You live near London. So I've performed, we've done our show at the South Bank Center in the big space there. And we've also done our stuff. We were guest artists on the Generation Game.
No way. I remember that was Bruce Forsyth. Oh my goodness.
Twice they brought us back two different times for because we had these particular gimmicky prop things that we could teach people pretty quickly, and they had to try to learn how to do them well, and then we would be the judges, and someone would, one of the teams would end up with the trophy and the other team,
Yes. I
went home.
remember, yes, and they were able to compete. The families would compete, wouldn't they? There'd be like two or three members from a family, and then
Something like that. I didn't know
had
that they
like
were families. I just knew that, it was two teams.
maybe often there were like a mother and father or something. I don't
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, exactly.
know.
And
Long time ago, we went to the
right, yeah, exactly. But I've been doing this stuff for a long time, so like we performed at the Edinburgh Festival, and the Edinburgh Festival is, like one of the world's largest. Well, it is pretty damn big. There's a lot of shows. So the Edinburgh Festival is a very large festival, and I brought my company there, and we won the award, the Critics' Choice Award that year. So we show up, and if you're good, hopefully you gain some traction, and you get notoriety for having a badass fucking resume, and you just
and being
keep
filmed.
making your stuff.
Oh, and so what happened? So that got you up there, and obviously if you're getting awards, that started a career. And then what have you gone on to do? I mean, so what did you stay in that area? Have you gone on to change slightly over the years? I mean, what has that gone on to develop for you?
I've done many different things over many, many years, and I started that company when I was 23, and I didn't know anything about building a business. Well, I did know something from my parents had a mom and pop shop, and I helped them with it because it was a family run thing. Um, but I just was flying by the seat of my pants, and I built this company from a teeny little thing in a small little town in the state of New York to, a full going concern. And we bought our, houses, cars, families, all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
earn livings. Um, when I showed up places, they would ask me to teach. So, can you do some kind of masterclass, lecdem, lecture, Q&A, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So I
sharing your
did that.
expertise, basically.
And
Sharing your expertise.
right, right, exactly. And that led to me codifying a unique system. I wasn't interested in teaching people how to dance. They can get dance lessons in their hometown. I didn't need to teach people acting. They can get acting lessons in their hometown. So I taught the things that fall through the cracks, this
Yeah,
like liminal stuff.
yeah.
And the things that I happen to do really well is all of this neck up work. I can express myself with lots of energy. And
As you are
I
now.
grad, yeah, exactly. There's the example. Um, so it was about teaching people what I was really interested in. And I was able to parlay some of that. I was asked to teach some public speaking courses, so I used my method for public speaking. I've been teaching actors, dancers, musicians, various people who are creating presentable work.
Mm.
I've been helping them perfect and refine their work for a very long time. So it's really not that big a stretch to teach, non-professional geared performers to ramp up their own game.
Right. Which is what you're
this
doing.
online thing. Yeah, that's what I do. Exactly. I still do all those other things. I'm actually the head of a ballet school, and I'm also on faculty I'm on faculty at a film and theater school here too. So I teach people how to create one-man shows.
Gosh.
And I also teach public speaking to young adults. So I'm a freelancer entrepreneur with my own multi-tiered business strategy, and I do what I want to do.
So you're heart-led. You followed your passion, it sounds like.
Pretty much, inadvertently since I was 20 something. So I prefer it that way. And not everyone feels like that's the right way to go, because it's a different type of understanding of responsibility. But it's, for me, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that's really interesting. Why do you think? Because you just raised a point that so many people. I mean, I'm like you, which is how we know each other, because we cross paths quite frequently. But a lot of people, they have dreams, they have ideas, but they do end up doing something like an office job, even though they do want to maybe create a band, or maybe they want to act, or maybe they have other dreams. What do you think enabled you to be different? What enabled you to push through and actually step into action on your dreams? Was it luck, or was it something?
Well, I think I'll answer your question, and then I'll give you a little analogy lesson type of thing because we're going to your group, right?
Yeah. We're going everywhere. So it's not just anyone could be listening.
Right. Holy flirking schnitt. So for me, because I grew up in a family where we were assembling all of the gifts and awards that my parents' business was hawking. That was their wares, and that was their process. And my father, sometimes, because I was very smart in school, he would let me. He would say, "Today you don't have to go to school if you don't want to. Do you have anything to do today?" And any test. And I was a very good student. I couldn't read very well. I couldn't write very well, but I could memorize everything in class. So I would sit there and pay attention, and I wouldn't have to try to take notes.
Oh, damn.
So if I had thank goodness, because I've always been very, dyslexic. I've had reading comprehension problems. I've learned how to read since then, but I didn't read a full book until I was like 17 or 18 years old. But my family would let me go out on sales calls with my father, and it was just a fun thing. And I saw my dad work, and we talked about, he explained to me what he did. He explained why it was so fun to know the people, get to know the secretary. Get to know the name of the secretary. What are they like? What, do they have kids? And
wow,
same with everyone. That the gatekeeper of any business is not necessarily the boss. You need to find who will give you access to the people you need to speak to by being nice. And you don't be nice by being a kiss-ass, pansy ass,
Yeah.
transparently greasy, sales bag. You actually, if you truly care and you truly take an interest, then you can be honest.
Yeah.
And very often I would explain what I needed to the secretary, and the secretary would say, he's really busy right now, but I can fit you in about 5-10 minutes. Can you just hold on?
Yeah.
Because, and I say, sure, thanks so much.
You built a
And it was
relationship.
always just a matter of, why, they're people.
Ah,
They're people.
yeah.
And, we see that on a regular basis in this online space. So I teach, actually, one of the components of my process is I teach the theater of ethical selling, right? And the theater of ethical selling has everything to do with being able to create and construct honest ways of purporting yourself when you talk about money, so that you don't have to have that, there are those sneaky script ass things where people say, get on the sales call, never tell them your pricing, and put this thing at the end and try to close the deal. Fuck that.
I'm so
Jesus
with you.
Christ.
I'm so with you on that.
I don't
Not my style.
I don't want to have to get off. Yeah, I don't want to have to get off some sales call with someone and feel like I have to take a shower. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so being honest, being straightforward, and understanding a structure that you can discuss with people on a moment's notice. People ask me for my stuff, and I have a PDF. They say, "What's your price schedule?" I say, "It's right here."
Yeah. It's transparent.
And then, and some people get scared off. Oh, I didn't know it was expensive. I say, well, it is. And I say, I get it. If it seems expensive to you, we can talk. I do have things at various price points, but I'm not going to pressure you on anything. I'm not going to sell you on anything. When you're ready, you know where to find me. I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with the fact that, if you're working on the thing from the perspective of, long game versus short con, why do I work on that? I think that has to do with the fact that in the world of booking theater and things like that, when you get a promise from someone who's interested in your work because you've created something unique that only you can deliver, and they will come to you, they may still say, okay, look, I'm putting you on the docket. You're on 3 years from now. You say, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, everyone who's going for this immediate stuff has no clue what it's like to actually experience a world where you're booking a contract many years down the line. But I do. So I look at it and I say, it doesn't matter when. With one of the best pieces of advice, I worked us up to the point where we were represented by one of the 3 largest, most, the heavy hitting agencies in the United States. And, I tried to keep the value and quality in the various other agents and producers around other parts of the world. But one of the guys told me, he said, look, when you talk to people about your stuff, you want to hear yes or maybe. You definitely don't want no. No is no. Maybe can always eventually turn into a yes, because you don't know why they have a maybe at the moment, and they might not tell you why they have a maybe at the moment. You can always convert a maybe to a yes easier than a no to a yes.
Yeah.
So I just give people a lot of opportunity for maybe, because I don't know what they're, one of my coaches was telling me, they always have a way to pay. They always do. And I say, I'm not gonna beat the shit out of them to get their payment now. I'm just not gonna.
It's also about fit, isn't it? I know from my own experience that I've had some lovely coaches come to me and say, "Oh no, I'm 5 grand," and I've gone, "I'm sorry, I can't do that right now." And then though, I've met somebody else who I just totally fit with, and who I can see. You have to be able to see that they can work with you, and then okay, I'm not the kind of 5 grand kind of coaching fee person, but I would like give them 1,000 because I'm like, I totally get it. So it's all about fit. So your coaches are right, and that people don't have the money, but what that probably just means is they don't see the value yet. When they haven't got the money, they don't see the value, because if I see the value, I I will dig. I mean, I went into quite a lot of debt when I was trying to set my business up to learn, but I was seeing that it was a necessary key for me, and I was brave. And I mean, sometimes we have to be brave, and it sounds like you've also been very brave. I mean, that's maybe one of the qualities that entrepreneurs have that that some people don't have, because it is scary. I mean, I spent most of my life slightly petrified where the next pound's coming from, because you live and die on your word. You live and die on how good you are today. It's no good how good you were yesterday. So for us, maybe relationships are more important.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but your family had such a.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So go on.
yeah. Sorry, there's a delay, so you go.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, because. But it's interesting, your family were in business, you said. They had a basic business, and you learned from family. I think that's so key, because how we are exposed, whether it be positive or negatively. My father worked for a big corporation, British Petroleum, and I saw him be sad and depressed, and I saw him just sort of be downtrodden. So I made in my head, I am never going to be like my father. I am going to work for myself. But in your case, you saw that, you saw the interest. You thought it was really interesting, and your father showed you how to work with people. So you learned this people skill, which meant you were already preset to then take your passion and combine it with something to create a great career path. You obviously had a passion too. I mean, my son's an actor; he loves that, so that's his thing. But are you familiar with the entrepreneur that I can't remember her name? She created Spanx. Do you know the one? Have you seen her? There's a lady who created Spanx.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She, I can't. It's terrible. I can't remember what her name is. But her family taught her to fail. So what her father said is, how many fails have you had today? I mean, what an extraordinary thing to say to somebody. But because he didn't make failure a bad thing, she would go, "Oh, Dad, I tried this, and I fell off my bike, and I climbed the tree, and I fell down." But she didn't have a problem with having a go. I mean, she's now a billionaire. And, because she invented this product, which then everyone said, well, that'll never work. But she was like, well, I'm failing her way to success. So, I'm always interested when I'm talking to entrepreneurs as to how did we get there? What means that we keep going? Because there are times when I'm like, what am I doing? A nice job with a nice paycheck. But it wouldn't suit who I am. And the upside is big for me. I mean, what do you, obviously you work with a lot of people who are acting, making movies, building businesses. You also do your video training course, which is to help people with their presentation, which I have to say, if anyone here wants to learn about, it's brilliant. And because obviously you are literally the source, you've worked with so many people. Go on, just share a few words, just a couple of tips, just couple of things that you would tell someone. So if someone wants to do Facebook Live and they're starting out, what are your 2 biggest tips for them?
2. That's well. The first thing is, I'm going to give more than 2.
Oh, that's very kind.
Okay.
I don't worry.
Because it doesn't. 2 won't cut it. So the first thing you want to understand is you're doing it wrong, and the reason you're doing it wrong, and by you I mean whoever's looking at me, look straight into the camera, you out there, you're doing it wrong for the following reason. you are not looking into the camera and getting rid of your stupid fucking selfie check. You see, you have to stop giving a shit about what you look like, and you have to learn about your camera universe, which I explain in detail in my stuff and in my free course too. I have a free Facebook group. People can get loads of training. I give, I twice a month I give a badass solid hour-long masterclass for free in there.
I'll put the links.
Right?
I'll put the links to everyone to all your classes after it.
Yeah. But so we have to get used to the fact that you learn your camera universe and then you abandon your selfie checks so that you can just look straight into the camera and you can talk into the camera, and your peripheral vision can enable you to be able to position yourself, And sometimes if I need to understand where I am, then I can do that. But I can see that in here while I'm still looking at the camera because my peripheral vision enables me to be able to look right in. And that's number one.
Before you leave that, because I have a really important question. So if people are looking on my camera is at the top of my computer. So should I look at the dot or should I look at the person I'm talking to? Because I'm confused. Because
look at the dot.
To look at the dot. So if I look at the dot now, okay, so I'm now looking at the dot. So I should just focus on the dot because that means my eyes don't move. I move, but my eyes don't move, right? And if I look at you, it's different.
Yeah, then you're not looking at me. According to me, you see, exactly. What you want, what your intention is to actually make full eye contact with your audience. So you have to look where your audience sees them looking at you. What the audience sees is a screen that is a direct reflection of the lens. So you have to look directly into the lens, and that here I'll show it to you right now. I mean, everybody else can see, and you know what it is. Ready? I'm now going to give myself a selfie check. It's not going to be a giant thing because my info is right. I've positioned my my particular selfie image pretty close to the camera lens. However, I am going to do that now. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, now I am going to readjust, and you are going to see the difference in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
There we go. Now I'm looking at you.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone, that one thing, and I know it and I don't do it because I get drawn down. I either look at you or worse still, I look at myself, and I know it's so bad. So thank you for reminding me. She says, looking at the dot.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That's that's an easy one.
Okay.
Right. That's an easy one. So the next thing you have to understand is that so there's no selfie check in looking into the camera lens. Okay, the second thing, well, the ancillary thing to that I mentioned is understanding your camera universe so that you can actually manipulate yourself, right? Right? You can just play.
Yeah.
And the next thing you mentioned specifically for a Facebook Live. Okay, so for Facebook Live, here's a very, very important thing. You're going to press play. And you are going to be live, and you are going to immediately start talking. And you are not going to talk about stupid bullshit. We're just going to wait for people to show up. No. You want to actually deliver value right from the get-go. There are opportunities occasionally where you can do the opposite. You can inform people because they are already there and you know that some other people are expected, so you can do something slightly different. But for the most part, You have just a few seconds to engage people. So you engage people with what you want to do that's really, really valuable, and you actually bring it right out of the gate. So you press go, and you can experiment with this a little bit, but for the most part, as soon as you actually start to understand that when you press go and it shows that you're live and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that's a very important thing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
um there's some others, but you know I'll just throw this other one out there because it's really valuable. No one gives a fuck about what you ate today. No
Yeah.
one gives no one gives two shits about what your dog is doing over in the corner, and oh, isn't that cute? Stop doing my wife is in the corner over here saying yes they do. if well if you're talking about it instead of showing them your dog, look at my lovely cat. I mean, you have a cat, and I'm an animal lover, so I was completely delighted to see that you picked up your cat, and this is your house, and you're an animal lover and I'm an animal lover. We have, my wife and I, and that's a beautiful thing. But getting distracted with that squirrel attention deficit disorder, and staying off topic with all of your stupid fucking tangents are going to get in the way
Yeah.
of delivering, and no one actually cares about that stuff. You can concurrently focus and describe and define certain parts of your life without going off on some 40-minute thing that actually contained 5 minutes worth of value.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's about focusing on the value, and yeah, stopping too much noise. I mean, I think we can do it. We can do a little bit of, I have a cat, so one likes to know. It builds something about me that I have a cat and a dog and a horse. But yeah, we don't want to go off topic into that. Yeah,
Right. You picked up your cat, you pet your cat, you put it down, it's perfectly fine. And we were all the time discussing things.
yeah, and it jumped on my lap. I was like, oh God, I've got a cat.
That's great. That's not a problem. My wife chimed in when I said those things, and we had a little conversation for
Yeah,
just a moment.
yeah, but that's real life. That's why
That's life, and that's fine.
this is about being real, and that's why I love because that's why I created this, because I mean, it's lovely. I mean, and I've been picking your brain, of course, because I have someone amazing whose brain to pick and share your tips. But I also just, it's a lovely opportunity to talk to people and just be real and hear your views, find out about you, and that's why I'm doing these interviews. I'm very lucky. I've been connected to a lot of incredible people, and so that's the benefit, and I want to be able to share that benefit with everyone I know. And it gives me an opportunity to practice. Now I'm looking down to see, oh my God, now you got me. I go down, I'm like, I need to whack myself every time my eyes go down.
Well, you just have to get used to it. You have to understand what it is you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. In a movie, you will ruin the take if you actually look into the camera, because the camera is peering in on a scene and it's a fly on the wall, and that's how most movies work. Now, there are certain media and forms of engagement in which you can break that fourth wall, and there are others where it's absolutely essential. And doing this, what we're dealing with, the entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
that engagement has everything to do with direct, empathetic, one-to-one, two-way dialogue through a one-way system.
Mm.
So that's where you do get out of your own way by looking right into the camera
Yes.
and engaging.
Yes.
And you know, right now I'm talking with you, you're talking with me, and there are other people who are looking in, and there's a certain understanding that people are sort of having, you know, peeking in on.
Yes.
But most of the work that we're doing, creating content, is a completely one-way thing.
Yeah.
There's no one on the other side, and you're just looking into the camera. Or, like I said, most people are looking at themselves in this, in that stupid selfie check. But but when it's just you, you have to actually come to understand how a method can transform your one-way work into a two-way dialogue
Mm.
because of the way you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's and that's just, you know, that's a method and practice, and having, you know, an invested outside eye, an invested objective observer who is a quick study, who can parse your work and can move you along.
Mm. Mm.
That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I've just started a Dream Team podcast, and so I'm curious now. It sounds to me like you've lived your dreams, but I'm going to ask you, what dreams do you have left that you want to achieve? What do you see for yourself and the left on your plate for your life?
I see, you know, I've been fortunate, you know, traveling around the world and getting paid to do that, and also uh, this is my second marriage, and my beloved wife, um, we fell in love a long time ago when I was first starting to travel around the world and perform, and we fell in love at a 2-week long festival in southern Holland, and we couldn't make it work. That was 1990, and we couldn't make it work until we met up again when we were both available, and that was in 2011, and we got married in 2013. So
Woo!
that whole, you know, like the weird and wild adventure of life is a fascinating thing. Yeah, and so all of these things together, um, I have structured, or have worked towards structuring, almost everything that I do, so that I truly enjoy what I do, even when I've had to do other weird little things, you know, to figure out stuff. I've, you know, or just experiments. I see, you know, what does it look like, and do I actually like this? And you extricate yourself when you can, or when you just plain need to. Um, my my desires for the next are to facilitate, you know, my wife's a real badass painter. She paints some things that are in the background of some of my work, not right now. That is a photo of two maps, one of New York State and one of Denmark. And that was one of my best friends, who is my lighting designer for my shows, framed that and sent that to us for our wedding gift. But um, but I would like very much to be able to have a big barn in upstate New York. Upstate New York, the countryside of New York State is just gorgeous. It's really, really nice.
Oh,
So I would like to set us up with that, so that she can have one of those genie lifts,
yeah,
and because her pieces are big,
yeah.
like she makes pieces that are, yeah, you know, there's, you know, we have a nice big apartment in the center of Copenhagen, and the piece behind me on, you know, is there in that apartment is 9 feet by 10 feet, and that's a medium-sized piece of hers.
That's medium. Oh, so
Yeah,
they're like whole walls, basically painting that fits a whole wall, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. If you have big enough walls,
If you, oh,
right? Some of the pieces, some of the pieces are like that,
yeah.
and so I would like very much to have that for
Mm.
her in New York State as well, and and I have far too many projects that I've started to set in motion or on my to-do list, and it just always keeps growing. I have an idea for a particular type of podcast, and it's kind of but I don't focus on the monetization of things.
Mm-hmm.
I focus on really deep-seated, fundamental passion play things that have true, honest needs to be offered, including all of my presentations, my live performances. They're all that way. And I found that when you focus on the truth and you understand a certain amount of business strategy and business acumen, then you can literally add all of the other layers on top that enable you to preach the gospel of you for whatever cause. And when you do that, because it's not focused on money is just one component of the larger understanding of value, all of the work actually will become less, it doesn't feel like work. You have to do the work, but it doesn't feel like, oh shit, not like that.
Yeah.
So all of these things that I'm doing, like I have people who, I have far too many people who are asking for collaboration, and I'm pretty good at saying no. And I say no, but I have selected a few collaborations that seem to feel right. And I have a few neat things in the, in the works right now that are relatively soon to be realized. And these are interesting collaborations, and I'm fascinated to see where they go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these people found me, and they felt right, and it made sense.
Yeah.
So I have a new thing that I'm working on with the World Bank. That's as much as I can say about that. Yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Yeah, it sounds fancy. Yeah. And it. Can I let you in on a fun little? It's just a fun little principle of mine.
Go for it.
I just mentioned the World Bank, or I've worked side by side with lots of people, whether it be Joe Cocker and Joan Baez, or Bill Hicks, famous comedians, whoever it is, also people in various countries that I didn't know were famous, but I showed up in that country and they're actually famous there, But you can drop names, and there's all sorts of things like that. But the fact is that the phrase that I use came from this storyteller from the United States from over 100 years ago, a guy named Will Rogers. And he said this, he said, if you done it, it ain't bragging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I encourage all of your folks who see this to understand that that's the truth.
Yeah.
There's a difference between dropping names, and there's a difference between incorporating certain things that sound really fancy and actually are just part and parcel of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I've been seen on TV to a worldwide audience of well over 2 billion people. I could say that in such a way that it sounds like a bunch of bullshit, and I'm just, like giving myself a big attaboy. And I could also, say it in such a way that it's just part of what I do, and I don't care what anybody else thinks of that. I'm not bragging. I am using this to the benefit because I fucking bled for it.
There's a
and
price paid.
I earned it.
Yeah.
So when you refer to certain things that seem to make sense, there's a difference between saying something in order to make other people feel small and offering a certain understanding within a larger context.
Yeah.
And so, that's, I just felt like I needed to say that because I dropped the name of the World Bank, and then, people know what that is. And, some people may say, oh, big fucking deal. Maybe he's, he's working as a, janitor in the World Bank. So, well, but,
Yeah.
but you can earn that too.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it just made it just made me think.
It's self-acknowledgement. I mean, again, there's a difference between bragging and actually, saying this is what I've done, because you said it's true. So, I've actually judged at 3 Olympics, and I actually always kind of go, ooh, when I judged at 3 Olympics, to me, it's like it was just one of those things. I got in the right place, right time, right person, and people go, wow, you worked and judged at 3 Olympics, and I've learned to be comfy with it, because I wasn't like a top judge. I was a lower level judge.
Yeah, but still, you have to be. They don't just take any. Oh, look, there's a person who spilled his coffee. Let's ask him if he'll judge the.
I know. It's funny, isn't it? Because we know in our own worlds, and then we have imposter syndrome. Am I really good enough, and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's all goes with the entrepreneurial thing. Am I really good enough? And I think no matter how brilliant we are, I think it's human to have a moment to go like, and I know, and we're nearly out of time, and I know I've got to let you go in a moment, but because you shared a story once about where you didn't get a job, and you thought you were like, you thought it was because your pitch hadn't been good enough or something, but in fact there was some other reason. It was nothing to do with that, and how you jumped to the assumption, but it was like they couldn't hire you. I forget what the story was now, but
I think I remember what it is. Our company got offered a possibility to do a commercial in Japan.
That's it.
And we offered, our agent was negotiating it for us. And he was listening to what their intentions were. And he said, this was in the early 90s, I guess. And he said, I started at $80,000, but I'm going to go up, so it's going to be about 150, and we'll see what happens from there. And I say, oh, don't price us out, don't price us out. And then we didn't get it, and it came down to us and one other person, and we didn't get it. And I got really frustrated at our agent just for a brief period, but I said, I think you priced us out. I mean, we could really use that money. And he said, me too.
Yeah.
You think I wanted to not get it? And we did a lot of gigs in Japan. So I was looking at the TV a year later, and here was this product. And actually, here was the product at the beginning of the thing. And no, it didn't show the product. It showed a person on a pedestal, and there were these rippling muscles of naked, powerful masculinity. And the person gradually stood up and unfolded. And in the unfolding, revealed that he was holding in his hand the product that we had been, up for. And it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's right. That was it. I knew that was something. And you're like, okay.
And I realized, the choice, because we were relatively famous in Japan at that time, the choice was us or Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they didn't not choose us because our agent asked for, $200,000.
Yeah.
Arnold probably got a couple mil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was an excellent lesson. And I wouldn't have known that because they don't need to tell you, look, it's, we didn't get it. We didn't give it to you. And, we gave it to Oprah. They don't tell you that. They just, tell your agent, no, not now. So luckily, because we were doing things on this global scene, it was a wonderful lesson to see that he should have asked for more. Maybe they would have taken us more seriously. And that's exactly why you and I and all of your people who are watching this should realize that they owe it to themselves to charge what they believe is actually real. When I first started this online stuff, I gave my program for $400.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just like you were talking about earlier, I am one of those people whose shit costs a lot.
Yeah, which is great, which is absolutely what it should be. I mean, the price that I'm mad at people now charging 15, 10 masterminds now running at 25,000. I know a couple of my friends just dropped 25k on a couple of masterminds. Sorry, I did the thing then. I looked at myself. Oh my god, I looked at myself. But I'm now to think of you every time I selfie check. in my brain telling me don't do it. So, but trusting your worth, and it's the hardest lesson for me. I started out at $50 basically, and my first course, and I have a low ticket offer now, and I haven't got a high ticket offer because I'm still trying to create one. But that's actually the challenge is we need a product suite.
Yeah, and you need you need I know my thing, my high ticket thing is really, really valuable. But that's because I've been teaching this shit for a long time. And I also have some things that are mid and low. And I'm happy to offer them because not everybody can afford anything in my high. And that's why I even offer some free stuff, because I want people to get, to get some assistance. I want them to see how good I am. And it's all part of what I know is, I mean, if you go to a gelateria and and they offer 30 something flavors and you say, can I try this? They say, sure. Because when you like one of them, then you buy it.
Yeah, you'll come back.
And I'm not saying that we are ice cream. I'm saying that everybody, everybody deserves to choose what they feel is the most fair, reasonable, and honest way of doing it. Because there's an awful lot of greaseballs out there who are trying to say, never negotiate, never back down, always close the fucking sale. And I look at them and I say, I know what I am, and I disagree with you, and I don't like that way. If you try to push me too hard, I will never choose you.
Yes.
Ever. I'm not an easy sale.
Yes.
I have people who I know are very good, and they, I just kind of know them and, a little bit in this world, and they get on something and they try to sort of push me toward working with them. And as soon as I feel like someone's trying to, get in, hey, how's your, what are your plans for 2020?
Yeah. The warm up.
Yeah, exactly. And, so I have a very simple thing that I say to practically everybody. Say, I only work with people I know, trust, and respect already. Yeah. So, if that's not you, then let's just understand that.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. Yeah, know, like, trust. Those are the keys. But for our businesses, all of us have to build know, like, trust. And it's back to what you started off at the very beginning, saying your parents taught you to build relationships and to like people and to like. So you're ethical, and I think there's more ethical coaches and producers out there now. I think as the world moves forward, because there's been so many, it's been so easy in the online space to scam and push and sell. Those of us who are trying to offer value and be straight and authentic and say, I am this, I think we're standing out. I mean, that's what I'm intending to do. I'm not going to change. That's how I'm going to be. And I know you're one of them.
Yeah.
So, oh, well, thank you so much. I so appreciate your time coming on. I'm sure I haven't been looking, because I've been concentrating on you. I haven't done the thing where I've checked the comments, so I have no idea what comments we might have.
Oh, well, take a look at the comments and see if we need to if we need to answer anything.
I would if my phone hadn't died. My phone's oh no, it's back. Like it's
your phone is back.
My phone is back. My phone was.
I mean, it's just an opportunity because. And I'm happy to, it's nice to engage directly. Happy to do that.
Just finding out. I'm not going to find the feed.
Well, that's okay too. People know how to reach, they can reach you because they know how to find you, and they can reach me through you because they know how to find you.
I mean, it might be looking in the. I was in the wrong place. I do that. I look at my news feed, not my profile, and then it goes. Okay, still can't find it. If for any reason it hasn't gone live, it will be posted later anyway. Okay, I'm live somewhere. I know I'm streaming somewhere. It might have just gone to YouTube and not Facebook for some strange reason. So
that might, yeah.
Yeah, this is my first time actually doing the live on Restream. I was practicing with it last night. And it worked perfectly, but maybe it's not working now. But
right, but you're using Restream.io?
Yes. And
yeah.
It's supposed to go to my profile and YouTube and Stitcher and well, it doesn't go to LinkedIn. It makes a little notification. It doesn't actually stream to LinkedIn, but and that's the first time. So this, if it hasn't worked, it's okay. I will pick up
Totally
comments
fine.
and I'll tag you in it, and then you can maybe, if you see any comments later on, and if I'm going to, regardless, repost it at 8 p.m. because that's my regular time, so that people who come and check, it will be re-showing at 8. So
yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun talking to you. A real pleasure.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to seeing what you do over the next year. 2021 is going to be a funny year for all of us. So hopefully we're all going to come out at the end of it and go, we're back. Got maybe some normality. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's all ahead of us. We don't know what's gonna, you need to find your own truth and make it fun to invest in what you're doing, then it's a long game thing, right?
It is a long game thing, and like you said, make it fun, because this is the only life we've got. Whether it's COVID or not COVID, we're here right now, and we have to live a life we love today and live the life we have. Because I think we always want to live somebody else's life. Live the life you have first.
I know that there are a lot of people who were complaining about all sorts of shit before COVID. Now they have COVID to blame, but that doesn't mean that they remember that they were actually bitching and moaning before COVID. So let's just put it in perspective and remember who we actually are and what we've been actually up to. We can change the way we deal with things according to the more recent, heavier duty traumas that we experience, and say, oh yeah, maybe I ought to recontextualize some of the way I purport myself.
We all have a choice. We have a choice. And also, as Tony Robbins says, life works isn't happening to us. It's happening for us. And that's one of his phrases. And it's a funny old thing, but that's up to our interpretation of the meaning of life. So you can say it's raining, oh my God, that's ruined my day. Or you can go, it's raining, that means I have to stay inside and stay warm and work on and talk to you or do something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fantastic opportunity to read the book or watch the movie or record something. Or you can go, I'm really pissed off, it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. I like that one. People say I have a cold. I hate colds. Oh, I love colds. I had no idea. Really, you hate them? And I have a. I mean, I know that there's a nice thing. Tony has some very sort of pleasantly affirmation oriented.
Yeah.
Shizzle.
Yes. Shizzle.
But my viewpoint on all of this stuff is the earth doesn't give a fuck about you. It's going to be here long after you're gone. So, the whole idea is, you have your way. And, if a typhoon shows up and takes your house, the earth wasn't trying. If there's a God, he's not focusing in and saying, I'm gonna get Paul. It's that whole thing about Job, it's a book. I mean, some people wrote that.
Yeah.
There was no one back there taking notes.
Yeah.
I know I'm stepping into that, dangerous territory with all
Okay,
the,
it's just real
but
life
the,
though. You're right. It's not dangerous. It's just real life. That's how life
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Kind
so yeah, and people walk around, saying, "Oh my God, this is happening to me." Saying, it's not raining to get you, you know.
totally. It's not. It's not raining. COVID
Yeah.
isn't for some people. Obviously, it has been heartbreaking, and they've lost loved ones. And
Yes,
that
yes,
is
absolutely.
incredibly sad. And that, but it is just. I mean, I don't think anyone was picked out. It seems it's just incredibly, incredibly sad where we're at. But if you've lost a loved one, I think, and I look at my own mother. She lost a lot of. I've lost most of my family to cancer, and it destroyed my mother, and in the end she died of cancer, and she lived the last few years of her life struggling with finding joy because she couldn't understand why everyone had died of cancer. And I watched that and I get it, and I felt her sorrow, but she hadn't but she was still alive, and she didn't have cancer until the end, but she actually lost quite a few years at the end of her life in her sorrow and her grief.
Mm.
And grief, we all have to feel our grief. You have to feel things, and that's what. But if you get stuck in it, or because she was like, it shouldn't have happened to her. Her family shouldn't have died of cancer because that didn't seem correct. So the problem with that is they did, and she couldn't accept it, and that I actually think even hastened her own demise, because she lived sadly and sorrowfully, and didn't live. She was such a lovely, lovely person, but she couldn't. The light was switched out when the last person to die was her husband, my father, and that was like the last straw. And she used to sit and sob. There's no one left. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so sad. So we
Yeah.
have to kind of move on from.
Well, you can choose to give up. It's that's your life is yours to choose. Do whatever you want. You can end it. I don't believe in making suicide illegal, although it is. There are issues there. But um, Viktor Frankl wrote Man's Search for Meaning, and he was in the Holocaust, and he embraced life despite.
Yes.
And it's a fascinating choice. And I'm not saying that we should be all Pollyanna.
No.
But it is a choice, and we should own our decision to select one or another modes of operation.
Yes. Yeah. And we also have it. I mean, and I think it's very important. I need to make sure I make myself clear that I'm not suggesting to people that they should to just like get over things. But what I'm saying is that you can sort of have two modes. You have your grieving mode, and you can, and then I mean, my biggest thing, of a very good friend of mine, his mother died just on Christmas Eve, not of COVID actually. Luckily it wasn't. But he has a choice now, and he's like, oh, my life is over. I've lost my mother. But I'm going, that isn't what she would want. I'm like, look deeper. She's gone, and she loved you so much, and so she would want you to go on and have an incredible life. And that's also, I mean, I think that's my message to all of us who've lost loved ones. They want us to live well.
They probably would, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about something that I care greatly about. I believe that most of us have all sorts of issues from, perhaps a very, very, very long time ago, when we were really small, that prevent us from understanding how we can get out of our own way and say what we actually mean. And that's my MO. I believe in that, and it's a deep-seated belief that, what I offer is an opportunity to liberate people so that they can actually solve some things in the universe. And but these things are, tragedy informs our decision making, and how do we get out of our own way so we can actually say what we mean?
Learn the tools and learn to ethically sell, and learn to present beautifully with your help. Well, I'm going to let you go. My dog is standing here saying it wants to go in the garden. So I'm going to have to go let the dog out. I could talk for you for hours. Thank you so much. Genuinely from my heart. It has been so interesting, so fascinating. So everyone, a big thank you to Gordon Paul Gordon, really. And I will put all your links to your groups and your courses, and obviously they can go find you on your profile and contact you that way, because we're primarily on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks very much. This was great. We'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely, we will. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
See ya. Bye.